All right, everybody. Hope everybody's doing well. Welcome to this We've Read the Documents short live stream. I'm going to be playing clips of Alex Jones having guests on to talk about the CMP and him downplaying the Council for National Policy and him slandering researchers like myself or Josh Reeves or even Derek in the Midwest back in the day. The Antidote, Matthew North, whomever, who have researched the Council for National Policy. These clips come from Derek in the Midwest on his YouTube channel. He does not post anymore. I'm hoping that he does not mind that I use this to further Council for National Policy research for people who are out there. And it was Greg McCarran who stumbled upon these clips from The Antidote, who sent them to me, and I greatly appreciate Greg for finding these and sending them to me. Josh Reeves has talked about these in the past on his radio show, but as to my knowledge has not played the full clips. Now, I haven't listened to every show Josh has done. He may have played the full clips in the past, but he hasn't, at least in his retrospective that he put out with all the episodes that you can listen to or in his back catalog on Podbean for the past 10 years or so. So yeah, this is going to be fun. So why don't we begin?
Left-wing CFR-funded conspiracy theory that says some group called the CMP runs everything.
Yeah, it's a leftist CFR, Council on Foreign Relations conspiracy theory that the Council for National Policy runs everything. Well, Jones, I'm not a leftist. I am conservative in many of my beliefs. I guess you would say the right of the political spectrum. So yeah. Now, granted, there are some leftists who talk about the CMP, like Ann Nelson, but I still think that she does great work in exposing them. She'll just disagree where I think the issues with the CMP are more their involvement in the world order, like Iran-Contra, the destabilization of Latin America, connections to Russia, their connections to being involved in 9/11. More of those aspects, and less, I disagree with her on, the CMP, at least on the surface, appearing to be pro-life. I'm pro-life myself. Where she'll say it's, because of all the liberal talking points that the CMP is the problem. I say it's more nefarious than that. But there are people who are on the right or who have opinions that lean towards the right of the political spectrum, even in a left-right paradigm. In theory, as far as government is concerned, not in theory, as far as government is concerned, it's completely bullcrap. And so, him framing it as such makes it say, well, anybody who talks about the CMP being an issue, well, they're leftist. Well, they're they're being funded by the Council on Foreign Relations, the Bilderbergs. It's bull crap.
And it's a total diversion, but we'll talk about it on the other side. We're going to have...
and then he never talks about it on the other side. Imagine that.
Charlotte Iserby popping back in. Hadn't had her on in over a year and a half, and this will be our third visit with her in the last 2 months. Because at the end of the show, when she was on with us early last week, she wanted to get into an organization I've heard a lot about over the years.
Look at that. Look at that tension on Alex Jones's face. Look at that butt. His butt is clenched. Clenched. He's like, oh no. I gotta talk about this because people are calling me out on it. Josh Reeves is putting pressure on me. Oh, Lee Rogers. Oh, Derek in the Midwest, they're putting pressure on me. Oh, I gotta talk about the CMP. Oh, Lord, I don't know how I'm gonna talk about the CMP. I don't know how I'm gonna do it. I don't know how I'm gonna do it. Look, clenching. That butthole is tight. Fear.
The CNP. And so we'll get more details from her coming up on that and how she believes they're infiltrating and controlling the Republican Party, not just the Democratic Party.
She believes. Because Alex Jones don't believe it, because Alex Jones' part counts for national policy. Oh, it's just a crazy conspiracy theory that Charlotte Iserby dreamed up. Oh, boy.
And we really appreciate her joining us. The reason she's almost for the next 20 minutes is she was on about a week and a half ago, and the show ended right as she was getting into how conservatives are controlled, and she brought up the CNP, which I haven't done a lot of research on. People have asked about it, so I've done some. That reportedly the Hunt brothers.
I haven't done a lot of research on it. I've done some. Hunt brothers, right? You know, the oil tycoons, Nelson Bunker Hunt, and the Hunt family. You know, I don't know. Alex Jones at one time said that they were fighting the New World Order. Huh. So, Alex Jones says they're fighting the New World Order, but they're part of the CMP. I mean, 1 + 1 = 2 here.
Help set up and things, and she was saying that that's not a real organization, or that isn't a conservative group trying to take America back or fight the New World Order, as they claim, but actually is the New World Order, and her experiences with them. So I wanted to get her up.
The CNP, I'm just going to briefly tell you my experience. When I was in the Department of Education, I got down there. I was just bewildered all the time by different things that kept happening. And so I finally get fired because I leaked a document which was to control the curriculum on the computer throughout the country. And I couldn't understand why Ronald Reagan was allowing that to happen. I was beginning to see that Ronald Reagan was not at all what I had thought he was. You have to ask yourself why. While I was in the Department of Ed, I was a liaison with the White House for the public-private partnerships, which is the merging of the public and private sector. That's the Communist Manifesto, okay? And where government and business are merged together. So anyway, they were putting that in under Reagan, and I asked at the White House.
Wait. You're telling me the Mountains Dominionism, where they combine, you know, within the guise of Christianity, government, business, schooling, all that's communism, Charlotte? What? But that's not what Lance Wallen knew, and Jim Baker, and that's not what the CNP tells me. They tell me that's not what Jay Dyer tells me. That we could have a government, and that would be non-corruptible if we had a theocracy. Oh, wait, no, it would just be a God-framed version of communism, which is more atheistic and godlessness. Let's continue.
I said, what on earth are they doing this for? Isn't this corporate fascism? And I was told, I guess that the people involved, all the high-up elitist people on the task force, they just don't see it that way. So I was becoming very suspicious. Then when I get out, I write a little book, Back to Basics Reform, for Skinnerian International Curriculum. And that was a brilliant little book. It's only 39 pages, and it is on my Delivered Dumbing Down website as a free PDF.
And it's how they turn the kids into biological robots, not free-thinking creatures.
Yes, that's right. So, anyway, we're talking about CNP. All of a sudden, I thought, everybody would want this little book. Well, it was boycotted by every single major conservative organization in the country. And I thought, what on earth is wrong here? Because folks, don't read that book.
Now, I played a British government-funded cartoon for kids yesterday where they teach them that cities will be prison and that the government will decide what you're going to be.
Well, that's exactly what we're looking at in the charter school movement. And the charter school movement, which is...
Oh, man. You're telling me that the charter schools, which the Council for National Policy pushes? There's something nefarious to that? And the CNP also being involved in pushing homeschooling. Now, granted, I'm not against people homeschooling their kids. You're going to get screwed to some degree, no matter how you educate your kids. Public schools, private schools, charter schools, homeschooling, somewhere around the line, something, is not going to be perfect. And the average person trying to homeschool their kids, it's probably the best. I'm not saying that at all. However, there are many connections to the Council for National Policy and the modern homeschooling movement. Also connections to the finders and the modern unschooling, homeschooling movement too as well. So I don't know. I'll probably do that, a video on that eventually when I talk about my misgivings of the cautionary tale of homeschooling. And of course, like Lee Veltman said in the chat, which Lee I'm going to have on tomorrow, Betsy DeVos likes charter schools. Yeah, she does. She does. So much so that if I remember correctly, Clearwater, Florida, down there in Florida, was pushing CMP-sponsored Scientology beliefs as far as their creationism. Not that God created everything, but actually pushing the whole Xenu Scientology belief of creation. So, yeah, CMP, Scientology, strange bedfellows.
Heavily by the Heritage Foundation, the Council for National Policy, etc.
Excuse me, Charlotte, that program...
Alright, I'm not going to play Derek's commentary here.
Funded by Heritage, funded by Courts, funded by all these. The Council for National Policy is the right-wing arm of the dialectic. It's the same as the CFR. And
that's what I try to tell you people! I mean, not my audience, they understand it, but the people who have no idea what the Council for National Policy is, that's from Charlotte Iserby's mouth. It is the right part of the world order pyramid. It is the right part of the dialectic of the world order. They're not our guys.
In fact, many of the people with the CFR funded it. All right.
Well, I mean, I've always heard the right call the CFR liberal, but I mean, it's full spectrum liberals and conservatives in the CFR.
Oh yes, of course, and it's full spectrum liberals and conservatives.
So this is like the Republican.
Oh, Charlotte, you can't be dropping truth bombs like that on InfoWars. You just can't. You can't. I mean, I'm not saying that, I like the work of Charlotte Iserby for the most part. Now, granted, you could say, her family members being skull and bones, that there's some, that she's a whistleblower, that there's some I don't know, maybe some red flags there. But I like Charlotte. I mean, if I had to choose between CMP Phyllis Schlafly and Charlotte Iserby as being like the representation of America's grandma when Phyllis Schlafly was going to Craig B. Spence parties, okay, I put my money on Charlotte Iserby.
Republican version of that, I guess, to pull in conservatives and then control and influence them. Is the whole CMP bad? And there's also a lot of people who've been in the CMP, like a Dr. Paul Craig Roberts, and he's grown. He's learned things.
Prone face? Well, when Josh Reeves interviewed Prune Face, he was like, gave the same CMP line, well, it's just a group of people that get together to discuss Reagan. It's just a group, Josh, it's just a group of people to get together to discuss, they don't discuss policy, they don't fix policy, they're just a group of people, he's sweating, Prune Face is sweating as Josh Reeves calls him, Prune Face, sweating as he's talking about the CMP. Oh, Alex Jones says, Paul Craig Roberts, he was in the CMP, he grew, he learned some things. I bet he did. Just like long-term Council for National Policy member Jerome Corsi.
Talk to him about it. He just says it's basically ineffectual.
Oh, that's not true at all.
That's right, Charlotte. You tell him. You tell Alex Jones it's bullcrap. Jay Dyer tells me the same thing. Jay Dyer said the same thing on Gramerica. Oh, the Council for National Policy, they have no power, John. What are you talking about? It's the Council on Foreign Relations, the Globalists, and the Trilateral Commission. Why doesn't Jay Dyer very rarely talk about Zionism? Think about that.
Tell me, because
you didn't let me finish the end of it, Alex.
Well, go ahead.
The most important part is Rosalind Haley from Midland, Texas, who Ron Paul knows, and we all know her as a great grand dame.
Ron Paul. And she's about to say that Rosalind Haley, and I've done the research, and I can back up Charlotte on this. Again, I'm not saying that there's a possibility Charlotte could be controlled opposition, but she was dropping this crap in 2011, people. All right? And the thing is she's not giving you a controlled narrative like CMP Phyllis Schlafly is going to give you when I play her in a minute. Oh, no. Charlotte Iserby's dropping some major truth bombs here about this Council for National Policy to the audience. Now, you could say, and Josh Reeves has argued, that Alex Jones has Charlotte Iserby on to tell you the CMP's rigged, but then immediately has Phyllis Schlafly on to give you the other side of the dialectic. So maybe they're like, what you get on Crossfire, when you have a person of the CFR over here, a person of the CMP over here, and they argue. I don't know. Maybe that's possible. I don't know. I'm not saying Charlotte is to be CFR. I'm just saying it's a possibility. But she is dropping major truth bombs. If anybody who does not understand about the CMP, their connections to Trump, their connections to Iran-Contra, 9/11, all of that. Open your ears. This woman is well respected within the conspiracy culture, okay? She's just not like some fringe person like you might think I am, or some liberal operative like you might think I am, because I'm trying to speak against your God Emperor Trump. It's not that. Listen to her. Open up your ears.
She was a member of the CNP. And I had this project that I wanted to get going, and I talked to Roz, and she said, that's great. We tried to get help. So we sent a big yellow manila envelope full of clippings about Soviet tanks and training and all in the southern United States and exchanges and everything to every member of this Council for National Policy, which is made up of top businessmen and the heads of all of the conservative groups in this country, just about, okay? And we asked for help on this project. We wanted help on this getting out of the UN project. We got one response. I'll tell you, I didn't put my name on.
Wait. I thought Trump wanted to get us out of the UN. Are you telling me the CNP doesn't want that, but they have puppets up there like Alex Jones saying that we should get out of the UN, but it'll never happen because the CNP don't give a flying crap about that because they're part of the complete world order?
On it, because that's real mud. You know, I knew that they wouldn't do anything if they saw Iserbeat. So it was Roz Haley, the grande dame, the woman that they admired. She signed it. She sent it out. We got one response from Lou Sheldon at Traditional Values. We did not hear from anyone else. Now, if that doesn't tell your listeners, stay away from every single conservative group you know. I mean, we got one response.
I don't even know what to say. She's right. The CNP is crooked as they come. But I don't know, man. That's not what Q tells me. You know, Q never talks about the CNP. I'm talking about how much Q says to trust the plan and trust the conservatives in power. And they're all going to do right. And Donald Trump's our guy, even though he spoke to the CNP in 2016 to get their blessing to be the president of these United States of America. You know, I don't know. You know, Q tells me. MAGA Twitter tells me. You know, Jay Dyer tells me, oh, John, you're just a crazy conspiracy theorist who thinks the Council for National Policy has power. I don't know. Charlotte Iserby says they do. But, you know, what does Charlotte Iserby know?
Response from 300 people who tell us they're trying to save the United States. That's the goal of the CMP, to save the United States for our children, to clean up education, to take care of taxes. And what a big bunch of you-know-what.
I'll say it, Charlotte. Bullshit. Bullshit. They are not the Christian organization fighting for Judeo-Christian values. Well, it's Christian values if you're a Christian. Fighting for limited government or increasing of educational purposes of children, fighting against Common Core. Yeah, you might have some people within the CNP. It's like a compartmentalized ladder. Not everyone who's ever spoken to the CNP or is part of the CNP knows the grand agenda of it being the right part of the world pyramid. For example, I seriously doubt the MyPillow Mike Liddell guy, okay, is very high up in the Council for National Policy. Could be wrong. I just don't think he is, all right? Or maybe the blogger activist mommy who spoke to the CNP. Like, I don't think. But again, you know, this is how it is. This is Charlotte Iserby has been blowing the whistle on the CNP for about 10 years now, okay? So much so that she goes on Rents, and of course CNP Rents, who knows about this, Rents knows about the Council for National Policy because he had Wolf Bitten Jarrell on about it in the early 2000s, okay? That he knows. You're telling me, all right, that when Charlotte Iserby talks about the CNP, Jeff Rents does not say a word. He doesn't open his mouth. It's like it doesn't happen. And you know what? If we were to believe the narrative, it is possible, and Charlotte Iserby's talked about it, that the Council for National Policy or the groups on the right that she speaks out about tried to murder her son. If that's to believe to be true. So, I don't know what else to say.
Boy, so again, from your perspective, a brief history of the CMP, and where are they in the power structure from your research?
Well, I mean, you had Paul Weyrich, was very important. He died recently. He was the initial head of the Heritage Foundation, and then he had his Family Research Council, and then you've got Edwin Fulner, who came on as the head of the Heritage Foundation later, and then you've got all of the other conservative organizations. You've got, these are people that I work with and like, so I don't even like to talk about them, but people like, Howard Phillips and James Dobson, but I have to say, and Beverly LaHaye and Tim LaHaye, I'll tell you.
What about Phyllis Schlafly? I mean, is she New World Order?
Phyllis Schlafly, who I know very, very well and have worked with for ages. So it's not much fun for me to talk about these people.
So, I mean, are they consciously bad?
Well, it's very hard to say. And I have to say something for Phyllis. Although, unfortunately, she has really been, and I've worked with her on this, she's been on the wrong side with charter schools. She's never seemed to get it.
Yeah. I mean, look. Charlotte and Phyllis are friends. Y'all have friends that you have ideological differences with. But it's very interesting. She's outing her friend right now. Sometimes the truth and work are more important than friendship.
But I have to give her credit on the Constitutional Convention. Nobody has done better work to keep us from having a Constitutional Convention than Phyllis Schlafly. Personally, don't ask me why she can be so good on that, and then support charter schools.
Yeah. Now, I disagree with Charlotte on here, but the CMP, they really want a con. They really want a constitutional convention. My guess is that they can replace our former government now, which isn't perfect. I'm not saying that in the slightest bit. With a theocracy, which is what Jay Dyer wants. Now, I don't, because men are valuable. The Pope is valuable. Okay? So until Jesus Christ comes down, at the the very end and establishes New Jerusalem, I don't think we're supposed to have these quote unquote divine rulers, because the majority of the time they're not divine. Okay? Majority of the time they very much are corruptible. Look at Solomon in the Bible, for example. David to some degree. Hezekiah, yeah, he seemed to be a holy man throughout his whole reign. But it doesn't always work out that way.
Which are going to be the vehicle which will bring this country down into the planned economy with unelected boards across the board.
No, but that's my issue is that I know the CFR's bad, and but a lot of their members are mid-level. They're brought in to be co-opted and controlled. I, from my research, do believe that, I don't know if it was founded good or got taken over, but certainly the CMP goes along with the whole neocon agenda.
Wait, what? The CMP goes along with the whole neocon agenda? Well, I mean, Alex Jones said it, so it's got to be true for people that love Alex Jones so much and Trump and Q. I mean... But you know what? Of course he throws shade. I don't know if he got co-opted. I mean, Robin Warren's daughter, who helped found the John Birch Society, Koch family that helped found the John Birch Society and the Council for National Policy, the LaHays, the Hunts, Phyllis Schlafly, all being at the founding of the Council for National Policy. Yeah, Jones, I think it was corrupted from the start there, bud.
And it's bad. I just get emails saying, cover the CMP, so I've done research on it.
It was funded by Rockefeller and Scaife Mellon and all. Same as Heritage.
Yep. Rockefeller and the Mellon family. I had Recluse on to talk about the Mellon family, the Mellon-Scaife family. Rockefellers, Mellon-Scaife, Koch. Is this the Hunts? Does this sound like a good organization fighting for you and me? Fighting for true conservatism in America? Nah.
And really, wait a minute. Do you think that the Rockefellers, well, they do fund everything, both sides, but they knew they had, they set up this conservative think tank, the CMP, sort of, and all the conservative organizations belong to it, plus corporate sector.
I know they set Heritage, you're saying you're sure they set it up? Wow, then it's purely bad then.
Yes. What I want you to do, because
From her mouth. From her mouth. Her mouth. Alex Jones said, well, I know the Rockefellers started the Heritage Foundation. Well, the Heritage Foundation and the CMP are twined together, Alex Jones. Twined together. Now, we're about to get good old America's grandma, Phyllis Schlafly, in a minute on Alex Jones. Just downplay all of this. Just completely crap all over Charlotte Iserby. And be like, oh, the CMP, oh, they're doing the Lord's work, Alex. Don't worry about that.
I'm not the expert on this, but I've told you, Alex, you must interview Kelly Nelson and Shay Simonton. These are brilliant gals who are out there. Nobody ever heard of them because nobody wants anybody to hear of them.
Well, I'll tell you who talked about this briefly in an interview, and I should have gone into it in more depth because, he's his uncle was a conservative icon. He's very well known. That's Joel Skousen of Cleon Skousen family.
Huh? W. Cleon Skousen? Founder of the one of the founding members of the Council for National Policy, one of the original members of the John Birch Society, the Mormon FBI agent. Do you mean that W. Cleon Skousen, the uncle of Joel Skousen, the truther that goes around and gives CMP values, and his brother Mark Skousen was a CMP member? The Skousen Mormon family pushing the CMP with their connections to the Federal Bureau of Investigation. That family? Oh yeah, he's of course downplayed it and say, oh no, nothing to say here.
And he agrees with you.
Yeah, absolutely not true. It's become a very lackluster organization.
Ah, I guess he didn't agree with Charlotte Iserby. Skousen saying, the CMP got no power, just like Jay Dyer. Huh. Really makes you think. Now, I have a soft spot for Jake Morphonios, to some degree. He's from North Carolina, lives in North Carolina. But Jake is likely has family members within the CMP. His grandmother Ellen Morphonios, the famous judge Maximum Morphonios from down there in Florida. Jake being a Mormon, Jake going to Lavoy Finnecum's funeral and sitting next to Joel Skousen really makes you think some things. All right, really makes you think some things. So I'm not ever going to push anything that Jake says on this channel because I have very, very, very serious doubts. But there are people that you have doubts about that you find them personable still, okay? It happens. There are people that, that you really think that they may have connections or they spread disinformation, but you still like them as a person. It happens. I mean, So I like Jake as a person. I've met him at the Red Shill Expo last year when I went down there with a friend of mine, Ensemble Vide, who's on this channel, for us just to go down there. And, my friend Benny Wills from Joy Camp was the MC, and, we wanted to see, I wanted to see firsthand, the players, within the John Birch Society. And, I guess I might have him on Ensemble Vide on to talk about our experiences at the Red Shill Expo. But it was interesting. I mean, me and Benny are friends. Benny knows about the CMP, but I don't know. He likes to believe in the best in all people, I guess. But it was very interesting. My experiences there as a visitor to the Red Pill Expo. I mean, as much as G. Edward Griffin is a long-term John Birch Society member, I mean, again, personable. So, Skousen's about to say, that the CMP has no power.
That really doesn't do anything except collect fees.
So, and in fact, we went and interviewed
him. So the CMP, according to Joel Skousen, doesn't do anything but collect fees. That's all they do. They just donate money. You go to meetings. That's it, huh? Only high people in the CMP usually say that, like, Jerome Corsi does now, or Paul Craig Roberts. I'm not saying Jay Dyer CMP, but he did used to know R.J. Rushdoony and be a big Dominionist in the late 1990s, early 2000s, according to himself. So why is he downplaying it the same as majority of the operatives within the CMP? Oh, don't worry about it. But when you have very low people within the CMP like Herman Cain, yeah, I'll talk about the CMP. What do you want to know about it?
Him in a two-part interview on this subject and other subjects, how the neocons control the conservative movement. That video is going up on prisonplanet.tv either tomorrow or...
Well, that's terribly important, I'm glad you're doing that.
Do you see how Alex just tried to manipulate?
Out that gets into how the conservative movement's controlled. We've, of course, covered that a lot in the past from the Council on Foreign Relations that is bipartisan, but also how the establishment tried to go in and control the anti-New World Order movement.
This one is Freemasonic. He likes, throwing pictures.
And that is this full-spectrum dominance system. Nothing can stop you, as the American people, from going out and running for office yourself and sticking to the issues and not being co-opted. There's been an attempt to co-opt the Tea Party. It's been somewhat successful, but not overall. And that's why we're getting...
The CMP, for the most part, started the Tea Party movement. Now, granted, there were genuine Americans who fight for the ideals that the Tea Party movement have. I'm not saying that at all. However, it was an operation, maybe from the very beginning, maybe not, but it definitely was controlled or co-opted or even possibly started by the Council for National Policy as a way to kind of rally up voters, even though, as we've, George from cavdev.org has done a lot of research on voter fraud. Voting, at least on the national elections for president, is 100% controlled, but they still want to appear that your vote matters, okay, that you can get things done in Washington. So it seems like that's what the Tea Party movement was just, any genuine outrage. Like on the left, you have, what was it? Occupy Wall Street. Anytime you have any genuine people, they make these movements to get genuine people and operatives together to kind of control people. And so that's what the Tea Party was.
Getting major traction because of people like Charlotte Iserby over the years and Dr. Stan Monteith.
Dr. Stan Monteith is CMP there, bud. Try again.
Alex, are you insane, Dr. Stan?
The infiltration is complete across the board. And remember, CMP is all the different groups. And I've been disappointed all the way down the line. But the most important thing now, folks, is the Heritage Foundation affiliates in every state that are pushing for the end of our political and economic system as we have known it through charter schools. I keep telling you this. Charter schools will set in motion getting rid of all forms of elected officials, starting with school boards.
Regional government, putting it all under federal and international, amazing.
Yes, and also the Soviet Polytech planned economy is being put in right now. This is what Reagan did. The plans were for this, and Norman Dodd knew all about it too. But it's going in right now, and you have to go after the Heritage affiliate in your state.
Well, there you go. So, Alex Jones has Phyllis Schlafly on. Now, this is Derek in the Midwest calling Alex Jones about the CMP. Look at Alex Jones' face. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Sweating.
Derek in Minnesota. Derek, you're on the air. Thanks for calling.
Hey, no problem, Alex. What's going on? I thought you were talking to GSP for a second.
I don't know what's GSP.
Oh, George St. Pierre. He's a French-Canadian MMA fighter. I thought you might know because you pay attention to mixed martial arts now and then. Anyways, you had Charlotte Iserby, I think, on sometime recently.
Yes.
And she wanted to go over the CNP issue. And during that interview, you actually claimed that Joel Skousen agreed with her position on the CNP, and that's completely incorrect, actually. Joel Skousen you had on previously, and Joel said that the group was ineffectual and did nothing but collect fees. And Iserby said that they were nothing but dirty and that they're the top of the Republican Party, the dirtiest of the dirty players in power.
Sure, but I mean, Derek, like you imply, she wanted to talk about it. I had her on specifically for a second interview because at the end of a show once she was bringing it up and the show ended, so I had her back up for more than 30 minutes to get into it. Then it went off into Ronald Reagan, and I'm going from memory about what Skousen said. He was talking about conservative groups in Washington. I thought he said the CMP, but we'll have him back up and bring that up to him. You know, I do 3-4 hours of radio every day, so it's. I mean, I
Notice here that Alex.
No, not at all. I think it's about time you talked about it. I mean, you've been covering it up for like how many years now? People have tried to bring it up to you, and you've claimed that it was a CFR-funded left-wing conspiracy theory, and it was a big distraction.
Well, sir, I'm above left wing and right wing, and I do.
Oh yeah, bull crap, Alex Jones. You definitely aren't now. You left-right paradigm shill.
Things to be controversies as drama queens. People are so jealous of this show.
Oh, it's just jealousy. Anybody who believes in accounts for national policy is just freaking jealous. They're jealous of me. Oh God, Alex, I can't believe I ever had any faith in you.
National leader of the conservative movement since the publication of her best-selling 1964 A Choice on an Echo. She has been a leader of the pro-family movement since 72 when she started her national volunteer organization now called Eagle Forum, who's really done a great job all over the country fighting the NAFTA highways. Ms. Shapley's monthly newsletter called the Phyllis Schlafly Report is now in its 43rd year. Her syndicated column appears in 100 newspapers plus. Her radio commentaries are heard daily on over 500 radio stations, and her radio talk show on the education called the Eagle Forum Live is heard weekdays on 75 stations. EagleForum.org is her website.
Well, I can't predict what Obama's going to say. I know the media have been trying to predict everything, but I think he's...
I'm America's grandma. I'm Phyllis Schlafly. I'm against pornography, and I believe in the Lord. But I'm going to go to Craig B. Spence parties with Lawrence C. King is there and a whole bunch of underage girls and boys. And I'm a big member of the Council for National Policy and a founding member, and you should trust me because I have perfect values that are instilled in me by God. I'm Phyllis Schlafly. I'm the conservative grandmother that everybody loves.
not moving to the center. He's just a left-wing socialist like he's always been, and he's trying to soothe people with some good words. I believe in the two-party system. That's what we've got. I'm not a supporter of any third party. I think that we're going to have to
left-right paradigm.
Retake the conservative control of the Republican Party, which we did in 1964, and then we did in 1980, and somehow it slipped away under George W. Bush, but we can get it back, and we welcome the Tea Party people.
So first, Phyllis claims that Obama is a left-wing...
All right. Let's continue with Schlafly.
For making drugs legal, and you know, it was on the ballot in California, the trendsetter of our country, and I think everybody thought legalization of marijuana was going to take place, and surprise, surprise, the people voted it down.
Well, I've got to say, I mean, you know, we've got triple the heroin, double the cocaine flowing in we had 20 years ago.
Well, that's because the big majority of it's coming in from Mexico, and I think we should take every step necessary.
Huh, because Alex Jones has it coming from China now. Chi-coms. Guess that's changed. Interesting, Phyllis Schlafly never mentioned the Central Intelligence Agency's role in all of drug trafficking and big pharma, but, you know, it's the Mexicans.
Just stop it.
Is Phyllis insane? It's coming in from Mexico.
We have good arguments, and we can make our case, and the liberals can't get any ads to run their show because they're so boring and they don't have any answers.
Well said on that front.
There she is again, keeping people caught up in the left-right paradigm.
Department of Education.
Yes, I do.
What's your view of her work?
She certainly did very good work and exposed a lot of mischief in the education department and in the public schools.
What about Phyllis Schlafly? I mean, is she New World Order?
Phyllis Schlafly, who I know very, very well. And I have to say something for Phyllis, although unfortunately she has really been...
Let's see what Derek said about this. I'm
What's
curious.
so poor on the charter schools is because that's how this works. They set people up to do 95% good, but they also do 5% bad, and not just bad, but terrible.
I think it depends. You can modify those ratios, Derek, a little bit, bud. Depends on the person.
So many true and good things that it's hard to believe that they're actually bad, but in all reality, they are working for the opposite team, for the New World Order.
Where does the CMP stand in all of this?
Well, they don't have any policy.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Oh. Again, the CMP is like Fight Club, all right? You can go and look at the CFR, Council of Foreign Relations membership register, see who's in the CFR. Can't for the CMP, except for what's leaked or what they put out. You don't know. You can go, watch the infinite coverage on the Bilderberg group. There's no coverage on Los Raquel. 1 or 2 membership lists in the 1980s, a book. That's it. So anybody who ever, this is as Josh Reeves has put it, this is the litmus test for the Council for National Policy. If anybody is truly high up in the Council for National Policy, I don't do nothing. They don't do nothing. Nothing ever happens. We don't talk policy. We just sit around. Oh, bull crap. I played speeches of them talking policy. All right, people talking policy. Charlie Kirk, Michael Flynn, Lieutenant General Boykin. So yeah, okay, bull crap, Phyllis. That's the first thing, bull crap. So pretty much we have. This is the question that you can ask the CMP if you ever have a chance. Even Ron Paul was like, I remember, this is the litmus test. High in the CMP, they don't do nothing. We don't do anything. We just collect dues. They don't talk policy. Never talk policy. Never talk policy. Just friends getting together. It's a good old gathering. I guess I could say the same thing about the Bohemian Grove. Okay? If you're low on the CMP, you start talking about it. You let people know what's going on. So that's the litmus test. So again, we have Phyllis Schlafly, CMP, nothing to see here. Joel Skousen, CMP, nothing to see here. Paul Craig Roberts, CMP, nothing to see here. Ron Paul, CMP, nothing to see here. Jay Dyer, CMP, nothing to see here. So just remember that. That's the litmus test. That is the litmus test.
Position. They just meet to have a good time and meet at the Ritz-Carlton and enjoy talking to a lot of important people.
Yeah, they don't have Oliver North come up there and speak in their 1980s to raise funds for the Contras. That's policy. Ronald Reagan got some of his briefings according to the Ronald Wilson Library from the Council for National Policy. That's policy. I mean, that's policy. That's talking policy. Fucking bullcrap.
That said that the military in the U.S. is being run by the Knights of Malta.
Oh, that's Cy Hirsch. Oh, that would never happen. The Knights of Malta would never be involved. I mean, Lieutenant General Boykin is a Knight of Malta. Rick Joyner's a Knight of Malta. The AmeriCares operation within the Iran-Contra, Knights of Malta. The Knights of Malta would never, ever have anything to do with the Council for National Policy. Ever. Now, let's see what America's grandma says, because she's not gonna. Oh, Phyllis laughed.
And by Opus Die, and then I'd seen claims going back decades that those groups were powerful inside the CMP. What do you think of what Seymour Hersh is saying?
Well, most people are all Catholics, and I can tell you there are not very many Catholics in CMP.
Yeah, because I guess
all the Knights of Malta are all Catholics.
This statement is absolutely incorrect.
It is.
Alex Jones knows it.
It's bullcrap.
The CNP is a combination of all the members of the religious right, Catholics, Protestants, and all other denominations of religious right leaders. And it can also be easily proven that the Knights of Malta do indeed run the Council for National Policy, as well as many other organizations, up to and including the United States military.
And they don't have any policy.
Oh, this is great. Phil Schlafly. Oh boy, you're such a shill.
And the Knights of Malta, most of what they do is charitable work.
Oh yeah, just like when you were sending down their kits to the Contras, Phyllis Schlafly, with razors, and because the Contra soldiers had to get good shaves, good care kits, and any good Christian would do that, fighting against those commie, godless Sandinistas.
It's completely a Catholic weak organization. I don't think they have any political
Sure, I mean,
views at all.
absolutely. From looking at the CMP rolls, it's predominantly Protestant, but at the same time,
Father Frank Pavone. Yeah. I mean, granted, CMP, Council for National Policy, is made up of a lot of Dominionists, evangelicals, New Apostolic Movement. I'm not saying that at all. But to say that, yeah, they ain't no Knights of Malta, ain't no Catholics in the CMP. No. That's bull crap.
I mean, certainly there's powerful
Well, I'm sure they
networks.
would be offended if you said the Knights of Malta and Opus Dei ran it.
Was it set up by...
The Knights of Malta and Opus Dei are a big part of the Council for National Policy. Now, you have many different. You have Zionists, you have people of the Jewish faith, you have white nationalists, you have Knights of Malta, you have Opus Dei, you have evangelical, you have Dominionists. It's a whole hodgepodge of people that make up the Council for National Policy. But, yeah, for her to be like, yeah, Jesuits, Knights of Malta, Opus Dei, they would never have any influence on the CMP. That's complete shade and bullcrap.
by the Hunt brothers?
No. I think in the early days, Bunker Hunt was a member, but the other Hunt...
Founding member, Phyllis. It's not that hard. You were there at the initial meeting at Louis Woody Jenkins' house in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Alright? You were there. You know who's there. Founding member. Financier.
The famous one was never a member.
More lies from Phyllis. William Herbert Hunt and Nelson Bunker Hunt both provided the startup capital for the Council for National Policy, and Nelson Bunker Hunt was actually the president of the CNP in 1982 to 83. Alex Jones.
Thank you, Derek. Thank you for keeping these clips up. Thank you for isolating and finding them. You did good work back in the day. You did good work. And I appreciate it. So now for anybody out there who says, oh, John Brisson, the Council on Foreign Relations is some leftist liberal scam. Alex Jones talked about it. Thing is he casted shade by immediately having Phyllis Schlafly on to downplay everything. And then it was never mentioned again. So when I title it the CMP, the Society Alex Jones never mentions, it's because he doesn't. And that's where we're at. And that's why the truth movement is just destroyed. Even from the inception, you have true people in there trying to disseminate the truth and get down to the bottom of things. But it's few and far between because most of it started from the John Birch Society, started from the Council for National Policy, the truth movement, the phony truth movement. And that's why, JFK was the martyr, and everybody rallies around John Fitzgerald Kennedy, that he was fighting the deep state, just like Donald Trump is. And that was the nexus point. That was the first nexus point to get the truth movement together. You have other ones, 9/11, Red Contra. And the CMP and the John Birch Society, even before then the Fabian Socialists, where a lot of this all started from. That's where it all springs from, is the two parts of the world pyramid. You have the right and the left. They appear at odds, but in reality, they're all funded by the same people, and they all connect at the top. Now, occasionally they may have some disagreements, but it is what it is. So yeah, Jay Dyer, if you ever listen to this, I'd love to debate you on this. I know some people have been sending clips to Gator from the Kill Stream. I've been listening to the Kill Stream for a long time, off and on, depending on what Ethan and Ralph has on. Of course, everybody knows that I'm a fan of Mr. Medicare. So yeah, I would love to, for me to debate Jay Dyer on this, to debate the problems with being a Russophile if you're an American. Now, if you're a Russian, of course you can advocate for your own country. But here in America, you shouldn't be advocating for Russia, especially when Putin and the Russian oligarchs are no different. They are just as corrupt, and Dugin himself is just as corrupt. I mean, he wanted to kill all the Ukrainians, for God's sakes. So, maybe Dyer, as an American citizen, maybe he should advocate of trying to make America a better place instead of advocating for Russia 24/7. Just me. Just me. But, let's debate. Let's debate on the Council for National Policy and their influence versus the Council on Foreign Relations over the past 30 years, Dyer. Because I tell you what, I will win. I will school you, and you will lose this debate. I promise you that. I promise you. For you go around and spread bullcrap lies when I'm doing a show out in a shed with a 1,000-square-foot house that I'm a Fed agent, okay? And look at you with all your money and all your accolades, and you going on and doing shows on Gaia TV with Jay Widener, and you have the audacity to call me a Fed because I call you a Russophile, and that you have some casting shade on the Council for National Policy and how much you love Dugin. That's very funny. It's very funny that you would make those accusations to me when I've never said the same in kind to you. Just that you have some weird beliefs, Jay. That's all I've said. It's interesting for you to go and crank it to 11 and tell your cult on Discord that I am an operative. Funny. Real funny, Jay. So yeah, if you want to debate the CNP, I throw down the gauntlet. If anybody wants to share this with Jay, they want to push this, want us to show up on the kill stream, we will. And I will prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that the Council for National Policy as part of the World Pyramid has been just as influential, if not more, in the past 30 years with Iran-Contra, with 9/11, with the destabilization of Afghanistan, the destabilization of Latin America, the phony Cold War bullcrap, all of that. All of that. And I will show people how much of a shill you are for the right side of the World War Pyramid, Jay. Alright, that's it. Gonna have, hopefully, LB Bork on at noon. And then Lee Veltman on tomorrow. Take care, everyone. God bless you. And as always, till next time, always read the documents. Take care.